This is the Hanging with A podcast.
What's up? What's up? This is the Hanging with A podcast coming to you always from Brockton, Massachusetts. Before we get into the interview, I just want to say thank you to everybody that has subscribed to the Hanging with A podcast. The Hanging with A podcast is at 39,900 subscribers. By the time this episode comes out, we'll be at 40,000 subscribers. The quest to 100K subscribers still continues. So I'm working hard to, get my first plaque. You can find the Hanging with A podcast on YouTube. You can follow me on Spotify, follow me on TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. Like I say all the time, I feel like I'm all over the place. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. I have a special guest with me. I met this gentleman. I saw this gentleman at the Eva Show in Lynn over this summer, which was an incredible show. Shout out to Richard Gray that that put together that whole thing, 1,000 words as well. It was a dope night. And I had an opportunity to see him perform. I reached out to him. We've been, going back and forth, but I finally got an opportunity to get him on here. He's an incredible MC, coming out with great music, doing it for the right reasons. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Jeff Porter.
What's up, people?
What's up, man?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Just happy to be here, man. I'm kind of on my little press run right now, dropping
Yeah,
back-to-back EPs. So yeah, it
yeah,
feels good, man.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
feels good.
appreciate you making time, man, to come on here. Um, Tell us about yourself, man. Who are you?
Yeah. So for those who don't know me, I'm Jeff Porter. I'm an MC, hip hop artist from Lynn, Massachusetts, born and raised. I still live here. So I'm North Shore all day, but I do have this is a Brockton hoodie. I got it at an event the other night. Bag. I think it was like a dispensary event, but I think it's a boxing hoodie. I don't know. It's a nice hoodie, but I got love for the South Shore too. A lot of dope hip hop coming out of Brockton, and they're actually making their way up to Lynn a lot. Luke Bars and Meech Bold had a show up in Lynn at the Vault, same venue that was the Eva show. But yeah, man. So I got love for both coasts, but born and raised in Lynn, Mass, student of the game. Love hip hop, love the craft of being an MC, being a lyricist, and just always trying to challenge myself and stay consistent and drop frequently and all the stuff that goes into being an artist.
Yeah, yeah, no, man, sound good, man. I mean, like I said before, it was nice to see you at the Eva show, man, and see you perform. Ton of talent there that night, man. I don't think I've been around that many MCs that were just all good in one area, and it just felt good that night, man. So I'm glad that show got put on. Crazy story. So I used to teach in Lynn. I taught in Lynn for 4 years. Shout out to Kip
Okay.
Lynn, Kip Academy Lynn.
Oh, dope,
Um,
dope. Yeah, yeah,
so I was
yeah.
over there. I'm a teacher right now. I mean, I'm a teacher, so I teach at Bridge Boston Charter School right now. But I was at Lynn, man, at the very begin. I was at Kip Lynn at the very beginning, so I know the Lynn area pretty well, man. So shout out to everybody in Lynn, man. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No, I know a lot of great people. I used to know some people who used to work at KIPP too. And I'm a product of the Lynn Public Schools, but KIPP obviously is a great school. They do a lot of great work. So yeah, man, that's cool. Small world.
yeah. How was life for you growing up?
Yeah, man. So I mean, I grew up, pretty middle class, working class, whatever you want to call it. Humble beginnings. My father worked at MBTA. My mom worked in restaurants, and you know, just instilled hard work in me from a young age. I was definitely a top student. I went to Lynn Public Schools. Ended up, going into undergrad. I went to a private liberal arts college out in New York, upstate New York, Union College. Studied economics. Thought I wanted to go like Wall Street route, and ended up getting into marketing. But while I was in school, a lot of the times at parties and whatnot, I'd be freestyling, or in downtown, I'd be writing lyrics, and I was like, wow, there's really something here. And people would encourage me more and more over the years to kind of get into music. They're like, man, you have so much knowledge of hip hop, and you're more into it than any of us. Like, why aren't you doing this? And so I kind of went full force with it around the time of COVID, but really been writing and just been inspired by many generations of incredible hip hop, really since I was a kid. You know, growing up in Lynn, it was really everywhere around me. Um, you know, I went to middle school in early 2000s, right? So it was heavy on the Dipset and the Locks and, you know, early Wayne and Ludacris and Nelly and really anything, right? DMX, Eminem, Hove, Nas, you know, everything, right? So, I was always trying to burn CDs and you know, put other people on the music and I almost was like an A&R or a DJ in that sense, but, um, I always had a love for it.
When did you fall in love with hip hop?
So I've told this story before, but you know, I can remember vividly a couple different instances from a visual standpoint. I'd come home and watch TRL all the time on MTV, and you know, I think it was the one mic video
Yeah,
just brought me in, man. The Heineken hitting the concrete, you know, and immediately became, you know, intrigued by Nas and really went back and did a lot of research on just his generation, everyone who came before him. But my older sisters always had hip hop CDs, and I would dig into what they had, and you know, a lot of it was, you know, they had the Marshall Mathers LP, they had some old Ludacris tapes, College Dropout. You know, so again, right when I was getting into middle school was really when I fell in love with it, and you know, I think it was history from there. I just became kind of obsessed with it.
yeah. I mean, I tell this story all the time too. I mean, I think I fell in love with it, man. You know, around like 97. First album that I ever bought with my own money was Jay-Z's In My Lifetime. I've been a fan of Hove ever since then. You know what I mean? But musical palette is all over the place. You know what I'm saying? I grew up in Maryland, so, you know, I had the East Coast. I spent time down south with my grandmother, so I had No Limit, Master P, and that whole
Wow.
movement. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
then, you know what I mean? Tupac was around, so you had a little bit of the West Coast, E40, B Real, Spice One, you know? So a lot of legends, you know what I mean? So, like, you know, tapped into like every market I could tap into, man. But I'll say around like 97, I truly like fell in love with it. And I was like, you know, this is some like I just really want to continue to learn what this is about and what's going on.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and that's amazing, man. I actually remember another funny story. I was like 3 years old,
yeah,
and my sisters would always play like Mariah Carey and things like that. They'd be singing in
yeah,
the kitchen, and this is around the time when Gangsta's Paradise was out, and I feel like it was in a bunch of movies. And I remember telling them it's in a whole movie we have. It's like I was like, turn on Coolio. I want Coolio, right? So as early as then, but I really didn't, you know, like I said, dive into later. But great to hear your story too, there, man.
yeah, yeah. When did you know you wanted to be an MC?
So it's kind of this one moment. My cousin, shout out to Josh, he lives out in LA. He's in finance or whatnot. I was at one of his gatherings out there. We were at a hotel and there was some people around. We were hanging out, having some drinks, and he always knew it. I had it in me, and he always try to like show people, and he'd be like, "Yo, let's throw on some beats for my cousin." And I was like, "Oh no, we're not gonna do that." And we ended up doing it, and all his friends that were living out there with him were like, "Why aren't you doing this? Like, you know, I know people out here. Like, why aren't you pursuing this? Where can I find your music?" And I was like, you can. I don't really have any out, and it's something that I wanted to do, but I haven't truly gone for. And that moment sort of just struck me and made me realize like why am I not doing this? And that was around 2019. Fast forward like 3 or 4 months, and the pandemic hit, and I said I was home working from home, and I had so much time on my hands, and I was like, you know what, this would be the perfect time to really give this a go. So that's when I ended up dropping like my first couple singles. I dropped the first iteration of the Appetizer, which I actually recorded on Adobe Audition because I had the software for my marketing job, and I'm like, I knew it wasn't like a Logic or a Pro Tools or anything like that, but one of my homies, you know, Stevie Dubs, my guy, like my first engineer who got me into this. He's like, I'll clean it up for you. Just get in there and try it, and like, I'll clean it up. And looking back on it, like, obviously it's not the best audio I've ever put out, but like, it is a very proud moment for me. It's how I is how I really kicked off the journey. So it's very special to me.
Yeah, no, that's an incredible story, man. Really incredible story. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
Um,
appreciate it.
Talk to me about the Eva show, man. Like I said in the opener, man. Again, a lot of those artists, I follow on Instagram. Sheikh Hanif, shout out to Sheikh Hanif, man. Feed the family. Sheikh
For
Hanif
sure.
he's been on the podcast. Um,
No doubt.
so you know what I mean. I had opportunity to interview him, and there was a couple of other people that that like I've heard about, but it was nice to see them live. The funny thing is, so A Rashid, so this is they're probably gonna kill me for this one, but I had no clue until maybe last month that that's the guy that's doing the intros for West Side Gun.
Yeah, yeah. Crazy, right?
I had no clue, and then I was like, I don't know what I was doing one day, and I was like, hold up, and then I put two. I followed him on Instagram. I said, yo, that's the guy that does all of West Side Gun's intros. So that was
Insane.
dope. It was dope. So just talk to me, man, about the show, man, because it was incredible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a great night, man. Just being from Lynn and being able to open up for all those heavyweights, I did the interview with Sam Buck in Thousand, so I met Thousand then, and we chopped it up, stayed cool, and he knows some other people that I know, some mutual people, and the opportunity presented itself, and I told them, listen, man, I'm gonna go kill that stage. I know a lot of this audience probably doesn't even know who I am, and it was just a great experience, getting there for sound check and kicking it with the Feed the Family guys, and you know. I can remember Mickey Diamond
Yeah.
and his homie, yeah, Filthy Triple. They walked in with the Red Wings jerseys. I'm a hockey guy, so I seen him walk in right with the Detroit jerseys, and I was like, I know that's Mickey right there. And he was bobbing his head as I was up there rapping, and it was cool because if you remember the setup, we had the people coming in from the front, and then
Yeah.
like all the artists and their homies were backstage. So I was kind of working the crowd like front to back, which was super fun. Um, but yeah, man, it was a great night, great experience. Shout out to all those artists, man. Pro and Snotty. I met
Yeah.
Cameron Bahani. He was super dope. He came up to me showing love, and then I looked into his music. I'm a fan of him now, and obviously Knack Davino and everybody there, man. Like, I'm a real big I'm just a fan of a lot of that stuff. So, being a fan, but then also being like, I'm here too, and I'm part of this now. So. It was a really cool moment, and it was just a great night all around.
Yeah. No, I mean it was a dope night. What hip hop albums did you listen to? What hip hop albums did you listen to growing up?
Oh man, the list is long. I was definitely, I think at my peak of when I was really, really into it, I was really big into the mixtape thing. For me, it was like for Wayne, all the Drought series and No Ceilings, Carter 2, Carter 3 from him, up into the Carter 4 really. But, I was big into like early Slaughterhouse. I was a huge Slaughterhouse fan. I seen them live a few times, man. All Joe's mixtapes, all the Mood Musics, Cassidy's Applied Pressure tapes. I was big into Fabs. There is no competitions, things like that. I was huge in the mixtapes, but when I had LimeWire and Napster and things like that, I was going back and just trying to listen to Wu-Tang, listen to Mobb Deep, and then Alchemist caught a ton of fire in the early 2010s. I've been following Al's journey and like thinking, man, like I want to work with Al one day, and so it really runs the gamut, like everyone though, man, like Mob, Wu-Tang, Gangstar, of course. Um, you know, uh, Nas, MJ, Wayne, DMX, yeah, all the way to like Jeru the Damager and going back to stuff like that. Kane and Slick Rick are coming to Lynn. They're coming to the auditorium end of October.
Okay.
So super dope, super hype about that. I also really like Czarface, so yeah, man, I try to listen to everything. That's just a short list, but like I'm a fan of mostly everything, man.
Yeah. No. 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 And I can appreciate that, man. That mixtape era. That was such a good era in hip hop. I don't think people really understand. Before MCs came out with like an album rappers came out with an album. You know what I mean? They
Hmm.
had their little mixtape thing, man. So um, my favorite mixtape of all time is Young Jeezy, Gangsta
Yep.
Grills. You know what I
Yep.
mean? When Young Jeezy came on the scene, and he had that whole movement. You know what I mean? So that was dope. That was a dope time.
Drama had the Midas touch, man. Drama,
Yeah,
anything drama touched, bro, really was crazy. Like
yeah.
drama tapes, clue tapes, all that. I used to really like King Los too. That the way he would rap and put words together, like he's still incredible. But just the way those zero gravity tapes, I think he had, those were crazy. I remember being in college and being like, in the books heavy and like reading a lot and studying and being like, this dude King Los is like, I haven't heard anyone rap like this in a while. So there's another shout out there. I definitely used to like him a lot too.
Okay. Let's get into, man, talking about the EP, man. Great body of work by you, man. Great EP. As you know, I bought it, man, and I've been listening to it, man,
Appreciate
pretty
you.
much no problem. I've been listening to it like every day, man. I love your flow on there. I love your cadence. I love the beat selection. I love the vibe of it. I just like how you just really get right into it, man. So, um, first things first, man. Why did you name the EP Appetizer too?
Yeah, I felt that I've come a long way in the last 4 years since the first one. And you know, I'm big into doing a couple EPs, couple tapes a year. So the thinking for this was that I was already working on the next EP. That's the Real Smooth Pack that's coming right after this. And I was thinking, it'd be kind of cool to drop them back to back, and maybe I'll go back to the whole appetizer concept. And then I started going for samples. So yeah, I was like, you know what? Let's bring it back, right? And then so kind of in curation of in sequencing of the album, I really wanted to layer in, you got the Action Bronson sample, Mayhem Loren talking about dumplings, two guys I also really like, and obviously Ghostface too. I like the exquisite food rappers for sure. I'm a foodie myself, and I love to eat. So it's a part of me. It's like food brings people together. It's cultural, and I just that's where like kind of the ideas for the sequencing of the samples came from. Fried haddock flow specifically was my family and I were up in Maine. I was eating a lot of fried seafood, and at the hotel one night I just got the pen out, and just that's where that song came from. So it all kind of came together naturally. Um, and yeah, man, like production wise, I'm a big fan of Stoic. He's got like 3 joints on there. He's just on the Dochi album. Out of TDE. She's super fire. He's worked with like Mick Jenkins and JID and cats like that. So he's got a really cool sound, and I like rapping on his beats, and he samples really well, and his drums are crazy. So he's got like 3 joints on there. The other cat, Brooks Y, who did Youth Fountain, he's got more of that Craven Ransom style. Ransom's also a huge influence. I love Ran,
Yeah, I love
especially
Ransom
like
too, man.
yeah, man, especially like 20, like COVID to now, since I've really been pursuing rap,
Yeah,
like his new renaissance has been in. I always
man.
tell all my boys that like, who are your favorite rapper right now? I'm like, yo, honestly, like it might be Ran. Like he's just so consistent. So that Youth Fountain was definitely like inspired by he and Craven. I also like Your Old Droog a lot. I just seen him perform in Boston. And that when he works with Fahim, they do a lot of Craven stuff. So I'm definitely inspired by that. Who else is on there? Who else produced on there? I might be missing. I have to look at the track list again. Stoic got a couple. Bailey Daniel did the live and direct, the outro. My homie Groovy.
Yep.
So I remember that sample from one of Wayne, the La 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 song from like one of Wayne's tapes. So that was nostalgic there for me. Rapping on that was fun. So yeah, it all just kind of came together nicely, but all those tracks were probably made over the last like year or so. And the way I work is I try to lock in once a week at the studio, and I just have a bunch going on, and I'm always working on like 3 or 4 tracks at a time. Like I try to, if I have a session booked, I'm going in there and I'm recording. I'm not really kicking it too much and like hanging around with people. I'm trying to go in there like with stuff already written. I'm recording, I'm mixing and mastering because it's my time, and time is money. And so I always have like a vault of music, and then I try to curate and make it fit that way, unless I'm really locked in on one specific idea, one specific project. But it's really a pretty scatterbrained process, just the way I work. Like I write a lot at home, and whatever comes to me, whatever beats I have in my vault, and I'm listening to. So Definitely not like a super organized process, but it usually works out where I'm able to put out several singles, several projects a year as long as I stay organized and get all my notes and my spreadsheets and try to stay organized with content. And do I have videos for this? Do I have the artwork ready? Do I have the beat already? So I try to stay organized that way. But yeah, the Appetizer part two just kind of came together really nicely, organically. So
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a beautiful EP. Like I said before, you kind of walked me a little bit. I mean, you kind of already answered my second question, about like who produced on the album. Shout out to all those producers that produced on the album. I feel like they all really did their thing, and they matched. You know what I mean? They matched your energy. You can tell like your flow, your cadence goes with the feel and the vibe of everything.
yeah,
So it was smooth, man, and really nice to hear, man. This EP. My favorite tracks on there, man, is of course Youth Fountain, Fried Haddock, and Live and Direct are my three favorite
hmm
tracks. Um, Talk to me, man, about the process of all three of those tracks, man. Like, the Youth Fountain one is like very like, the sample, everything with the sample just brings everything together. And I feel like the way that you flow over that song, man, is just beautifully constructed. Just walk me through, man, like the process of those three tracks.
yeah. So Fried Haddock flows I already kind of hit on it. It was over the summer. I was on vacation with my family, my nephews, my parents, my sisters, and we were just up in Maine, and I was eating a lot of. I had this amazing fried haddock sandwich, and it just kind of inspired that. And then I linked up with or reached out to Art by Codes. He's done a lot of great work in the underground scene. His graphic design work. I think he's worked with some of the Feed the Family guys, and he's just tapped in, and he's from the UK. And I gave him the vision. He did the artwork for that. That dropped that as a single. Um, but that was around the time of my birthday. I went out to eat at Grill 23 in Boston with some friends and got a great ribeye steak. And I like old fashioned, so I had a nice drink. And I just was kind of feeling myself. I was off that week from work, and I was just like, you know what, let me channel this into a song. And that was really like the culmination of Fried Haddock flows. But Live and Direct was, like I said, I really like that beat. It gave me that old Wheezy feel, and I've been wanting to link up with my homie Isaac Groove. He does a lot of shows in the area like myself, and we've been homies for a while. And I told him to come up to the studio one night, and he just kind of laid the verse on the spot, which was super dope. Came out real organically that way. So that covers those two, and then yeah, Youth Fountain was actually I was home one weekend and I was in my living room and I had YouTube on and I was just riffing through beats and I was like, you know what, I haven't written in a little bit. I need to just like force myself. Sometimes I do that when if I go in a little writing drought, like I'll be like go through beats and whatever one inspires you, at least write like 4 bars. That's kind of like my minimum. Like if I'm gonna like if I have to get in there, if I feel like I've been slacking or feel like I haven't been dedicated enough to the craft, I'm like, at least get 4 down. You wrote something, you accomplished something for today. And found that beat. My mom was home and she was walking in the kitchen and she's like, oh, I kind of like that. She's like, are you writing to that? I was like, yeah. She's like, oh, that's a good one. I like that. Sounds cool. And then, she went in her room or whatever. And I was like, oh, cool. And that like gave me a little burst right there. But then I just sat with it and I think I knocked out like most of it that night. It was like a Saturday night. I was just home, and yeah, just the pen started going. I write on my iPhone, so I say the pen, but it's really a digital pen. Trying to go back to the paper and pad sometimes to write, but my writing is just awful to read. So I mostly write everything in my phone, and I keep it real structured and the way I like organize it and all that. But yeah, that was Youth Fountain. It was just honest introspection. It wasn't really any specific topic. I was just kind of riffing on my thoughts at the time, and it came together nicely. I'm glad you liked that one because I feel like that's kind of like a slept on one on the
Yeah.
track list.
No, I mean it's I just as soon as it came on, man, I just felt it, played it back like a whole bunch of times, um, because I love the soul sampling, man. I love the boom bap. And I feel like that's
Yeah,
coming back. Like you mentioned Ransom, you know what I mean? I think that's the thing about Ransom. Like, you can't really skip any of his stuff because everything connects. I feel like there's a jewel in everything that he's saying. And I feel like right
everything.
now, right. And I feel like right now, underground hip hop, man, is the best hip hop. I said this. I feel like every underground artist that I've come across and that I know, it's just the passion and the hunger and the attention to details that all you guys are following right now. Um,
Yeah,
I think mainstream is all starting to sound the same. I think they're just doing it for the likes, the TikToks and whatever.
yeah.
But I feel like underground hip hop, they're doing it because they genuinely love the music and they love the feel and I just love it. I just think underground hip hop is the best hip hop out right now, you know?
Yeah, and for me, it keeps me sharp, man. Like, I'll be honest, one of my favorite songs, like if I'm not inspired, I'll throw this song on all the time. It's I think it's called Hunger Games, but it's Spesh, Ran and Shay
Yeah.
Noir.
Yeah.
They're like a group, and like Shay Noir is incredible, bro. Like I love her. I seen her. She opened up for Raekwon in Roxbury. Couple like I think it was like last winter maybe. Um, and she's just amazing. But yeah, the trust guy like Spesh is incredible to me. I
Yeah.
really love Spesh. Obviously the Griselda kind of the main three there, but I think out of those three, like I think Conway is definitely my favorite out of those three. I like Benny a lot. Guns the curator and the real artsy guy, but I feel like Conway, man, like I think he's incredible. Especially that project he just did with Rand with V Don.
Yeah,
I think it
that's a good
was
one.
yeah, Chaos is my ladder too. I've been
Yep.
spinning that a lot. Love the Genius is dope too. I really like her. Yeah, I'm trying to think of some other female MCs that I really like. I like Sa Rock. I don't know if you know Sa Rock. She's
Yep.
pretty dope. Rhapsody obviously is incredible. And yeah, I really like Doechii from TDE. I think she's really cool right now too. But yeah, I definitely that Ransom, that Craven kind of that's what I was definitely going for on the Youth Fountain, and I think that's just the best vehicle to just spill out and just kind of flow and just let your thoughts like real stream of consciousness, introspective rhymes. Like I love rapping on beats like that. So yeah, I definitely listen to that scene heavy. Like that's what I bump the most is like all those cats. Like Willie the Kid and V Don I think are dropping tomorrow.
Yeah, about
Uh,
dropping tomorrow. Yep.
yeah, the track, yo, and Al's rapping lately, man. Like a lot of people don't realize his come up, and he came up under the Hooligans and was rapping with Scott Kahn out of Hollywood, like as a kid, and came up with Cypress and all them. But like Al's resurgence lately on the mic has been super inspiring. I've done a couple freestyles over some Al beats, but the Gangrene album. The last one they just put out, I really liked. Him and Oh No, and just Al's been going crazy. He's been really inspiring me lately. Honestly, to write, like I've been liking a lot of his stuff lately. He's been going
Yeah, yeah.
crazy. So
Yeah, he's on a rampage right now with the music. Yeah, Vidon and Willie the Kid come out tomorrow. There's a lot of good things dropping tomorrow, man. So
Royal
um
Ortiz and Arsonist are dropping tomorrow too.
yep, yep.
I think they got Styles P. Styles P's
Yeah.
run the last few years has also been really inspiring to me because I'm really intrigued by the elder statesmen that have been able to really like into their 40s have been like almost getting better. Like I felt that way about Royce. I feel that way about Lupe. Styles P for sure. I like Run the Jewels a lot. Killer Mike's last two projects have been incredible too. So yeah, man, I like that. I'm only 32, but like these guys came before me and they're still got their foot on the gas. So like super inspired by that too. So I'm really a fan first, man, and then it helps inspire what I do. So I don't know if I'd be so prolific if I didn't listen to so much of it, but it definitely
Yeah.
helps fuel the engine for sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, no problem at all. You and Dave Ryan, man. You know, you guys do a lot of music together. Talk to me,
hmm
man, about like that. Talk to me about that brotherhood, man, that friendship, man.
Yeah, so I like working with David, man, because he's 5 years younger than me, and he has the pulse on more of kind of like he's definitely a better vocalist than me. Like he can really hit a melody, and he's been in his bag more in the studio and doing more like alternative and like pop and kind of R&B sound and stuff. He's kind of branched off from a lot of the hip hop stuff, but I'm more the hip hop head of the group. So I think when we come together, he's more inspired to be like a killer MC by way of working with me, and then usually he'll do more of the hooks or what have you. So, I think it's a nice marriage there. When we work together, it's a nice blend. But yeah, no, I just he's a good friend of mine, and we inspire each other. A lot of the early projects I put out were with he and I, but lately, like I said, he's trying to do more singing and vocalizing and going in a little bit of a different direction musically than me, and I'm just going crazy with like the core hip hop stuff. And so, we still do things together, but, talking crazy, you got him on there, got him on top tier team. So, he's still home team and that's my guy. But, I'm excited to see what he does too. He's been really, really singing like crazy in the studio. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shout out to Dave Ryan, man. What do you think about the state of hip hop right now?
like you said, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think the underground is flourishing. I think the mainstream, I think there are still really dope lyricists in mainstream hip hop. You just have to either follow them on social media, know when they're dropping things. Like, I really like, I guess you could call them more mainstream. Like, I still like Joey Badass. I like the album he put out with Static, 2000 and was it 2000? Because the first one was 99, right?
Yeah,
A
2000.
couple of
Yep.
years ago, I think. Yeah, I really like that project. I think he's still dope. Like I said, Mick Jenkins from Chicago, I really like. He's really dope to me. Um, JID, I think is really dope, and like he blew up off that TikTok song almost overnight last couple of years. So I think there's still, what Cole and I like the thing Cole did last night. I know people feel split on that. Him kind of like apologizing about things in the beef, but I'm a huge Kendrick fan. I mean, Kendrick's doing the Super Bowl, so he's effectively the biggest rapper in the world, and he's a lyricist, right? So I think that's amazing. But some of the younger stuff, I try to be receptive to it. I try not to be the old head who's really only 32. But I think some of it I like. The melodic stuff I can appreciate, but it's not really in my rotation as much. It's just I go to what I like, and it's all the guys we just talked about, all the women that are killing it too. The underground is just always going to be where it has the more intimate shows too. As a fan, where I can go to a venue and there's 50 people that know all the words, and you're not in some big arena. It's just where I am as a fan. But I'm trying to think of, I really like Corday. I think Corday is a dope torchbearer for that generation. I think he's super dope. I really like Corday. I wish there were more kids like him. And there's probably some other younger kids I like too. I know Jack Harlow's super mainstream, but his last album he put out, I thought he was rapping on there, and I like when he raps like that. And he's just, I'm not saying I like love all his stuff. Like some of the more pop stuff, I'm not a big fan of, but I like when he gets in his introspective bag. Static had him on one of his albums. I really like that song. I think it's called Time, but it was him just kind of like being introspective. So, yeah, pretty much anyone who's on a Static Selecta album, man, like his work over the last so many years has been like those are the best posse cut albums to me. On the mainstream, everyone knows the Khaled albums, but if you really know, man, Static's like he's been the best A&R to me in hip hop in the last 10, 12 years, and I got the chance to open for Term once, so shout out to Term, man. Big fan of Term.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, those are all great names that you just mentioned. And I feel like when it comes to the mainstream, a lot of them are carrying it. Kendrick, J. Cole. J. Cole dropped a banger last night. It was fire.
It was real
I think
good,
it, I,
real
I
good.
think I think anything that J. Cole is on right now featuring any like thing like that, he's killing it right now. He still lyrically, um, you still can't mess with him lyrically. And like I
No,
understand in that song, I understand what he was saying, you know what I mean, about the Drake and Kendrick thing. If you really dissect and listen to what he's saying, he's right. You know what I mean? Like why, like, you know what I mean? A lot of people profit off of that. And I get it, you know what I mean? Drake and Kendrick battling who's the best MC, who's the best MC, whatever. But Kendrick's an MC, Drake's a rapper. There's a difference. And not saying that Drake can't MC and get in his bag because he can.
hmm
He
hmm
just he just does so many different other things, and that's okay. But I think that battle was good for hip hop. And I think
Amazing.
Joe,
Yeah.
I think J. Cole saw where it was going, And he was like, man, I'm all set. I'm not here to do all that. So I respect that, you know?
I respect it too. Did you feel that in that song? What is it, Port Antonio?
Yeah.
Um, did you feel that he? Do you feel that he almost picked Drake's side a little? Like I was trying to really dissect that second verse, or was it? Or did he do three
Um,
verses? I'm not sure, but
he
I
did.
couldn't really tell. Like he definitely said that he
So,
was in between. They were both friends, but it did seem like he skewed a little more towards Drake, and that was kind of ambiguous to me, right?
right. I, I think the same thing, but see, this is the way I looked at it. Um, Drake brought him on his biggest tour.
Hmm.
The All the Blur tour was the biggest tour all year.
Yeah.
He got a lot of money for that. You know what I mean? And I feel like him and Drake, Drake they have this good friendship, and Drake has been on records, saying, "Hey, you're one of the best to ever do it." You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I think they
Hmm.
have a genuine brotherhood. And I think his thing was just like, yo, like this dude really helped me out. He helped me
Yeah.
feed my family. He put money in my pocket. You know what I mean? He took me on the road. You know what I mean? Drake's the biggest artist in the world. You know, for him to bring J. Cole on stage with him and do all that, I think that speaks volumes. So I do think he picked a side, but to J. Cole's credit, I mean, Drake held you down, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess it made me just curious, where where him and Dot stand, like I feel like, but I think the text message was he alluding to Kendrick as saying that I don't want to be the gun. Like I think he was alluding to that Kendrick
yeah,
being the one in the text message. So it
hmm
was interesting how he was just very explicit and like named Drake, but just kind of like in code almost mentioned Kendrick. But yeah, I'm a huge Cole fan. Like I'm especially like when I was in school, he did the Dollar and the Dream tour. I remember going to that up in Albany, and like I could relate to him from the sense of like he was kind of rapping for college kids at the time, and I've just been following his come up and his journey and the feature run, like you mentioned before. I mean, I don't think anyone's done that since Wayne's feature run and uh, the early, or like oh 06, oh 05 to like oh 09. I think what Cole's been doing since 2018 really has been equivalent or almost as good, if not maybe even better than that. So yeah, and I also think Wayne's features since like the COVID era have also been really good too. He was on the AZ Do or Die 2. He was on Conway's album. He was on West's album. Tyler the Creator's album. So yeah, I really still look to Wayne and Cole as like the top feature guys, but Cole especially, he's been killing it the last like 5, 6 years. So I'm happy that, you know, for a while there on the internet, it felt like everyone was saying he was boring and like, Jay Snore and like I used to see crazy things on Twitter and it's like I never really understood it. I don't think he's boring at all. I think
no,
he's one of the best writers we've ever had in hip hop.
yeah, no, I would agree. I agree with that too. I definitely do think he's one of the best writers and one of the best MCs we have. But
Hmm.
if you have music with a message these days, I feel like nobody really wants to hear that anyway. So
Hmm.
I feel like that's where we're at when it comes to music all of a sudden. But it's sad. Um,
Definitely.
What is a quote you live by?
A quote I live by. Um, it's one my dad instilled in me real young is just kind of do your best and forget the rest. I think that life is tricky, has its ups and downs. It's not always easy. And if you just put your best foot forward, like you can sleep at night. Um, that's something I try to live by in everything I do, whether it's, work or performing or writing, spending time with my family, like try to be present and, try to give everything I have. So,
No, I love that. I love that. I said this in my last interview. But I think my favorite quote, and I always go back to this quote, Nipsey Hussle, you know what I mean? Rest in peace
of
to
course,
Nip.
of course.
He says, how do kids spell love? Time. Um,
Mm,
and he said, how somebody gives you their time shows you how much they love you and how interested
mhm.
they are in you. And he also said the highest human act is to inspire. And I feel like as long as we have this platform and as long as we're able, like you have this platform to make incredible music and to rhyme, and I have this platform to have a podcast where people listen and people tune in, people tap in. Um, I just want to make sure that I'm inspiring. I'm putting up the right type of content. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I'm not putting out trash. I'm supporting people that I think are doing incredible and great things. Because I feel like a lot of those people get overlooked because everybody's looking for the, oh, I got to get this person, I got to get that person. Um,
Yeah,
but somebody told me, it was like, just build it. You know what I mean? Build it the way that you see it, and everything else will come together. And that's how I've done this. I've just been building the way that I see it, and my own vision in my own lane, and it's starting to all the pieces are starting to all fit and come together, and it's beautiful to watch. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's the same thing when I listen to your music. I can tell that you are putting music out where you want somebody to pick it up and listen to it and inspire them and push them to to be an MC or to or just to do anything. So, I think about that quote a lot because, it just means a lot to me.
man, that's a gem right there, and I appreciate that. I appreciate. No, I think it speaks to your character, man. Like you met me at the Eva Show and you tapped right in and you've been following me and supporting me and now we made this happen. So, I really cherish those kind of relationships and that's where I try to go to events and try to just show love first. I think one thing, and I said this on the last podcast I did too, but I'll say it again because I think it's important and you have obviously have an amazing audience here. Um, I think it's unfortunate that when you support, especially if you're an artist, you support other artists like that are kind of either at your level or comparable. Like for me, I'm always sharing songs. I want to put people on, but some people I feel like, they might want to call it dick riding or they think it's clout chasey or that's corny, you're showing other people love. And that to me is just crazy. Like I don't like that climate, that part of the climate that we're in. I feel like nowadays, where I think the real ones kind of know that's genuine and that's how you help elevate and lift the scene around you. So that's just one thing that I think that I wish was kind of when we talk about like the state of everything and the state of the culture. I wish people were more open to that. Like it's okay to be a fan of I know hip hop's such a competitive thing, but like you could be competitive with someone and still respect and revere what they do. So um I might be off track on the question. I just
No,
wanted
no,
to
no,
wanted to
no,
say
no.
that for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
no, I appreciate all of that, man. I really do. What inspires you?
Definitely the music that I listen to for sure. All the artists that I mentioned. Um and knowing that life is finite, I think like I only have so many more years to do this. I feel like. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll be rapping forever. But for me to like take it and grow it to the point where I'm like, my real goal with this is for it to be my full time thing. I'm a long, long ways from that, but the growth that I've seen in just 4 years of doing this and how I see things kind of climbing and climbing each year inspires me to the point where I think it's feasible. Especially with like the underground scene that we keep talking about here. You have cats that can go over to Europe and they get more love than they do here. And it's like it's a global culture, it's a global language. Hip hop is really a global language. I've been watching all Alchemist's like tour videos, the Rap Camp TV. I don't know if you've seen those on YouTube, but it's just him like having a camera follow him around when he's on tour. He's out in Japan and people know like he plays all the old cuts and everyone's bobbing their head and they're Japanese kids in the crowd. And that just inspires me because I'm like, I just got to get beyond this local kind of mindset that I think a lot of artists have. It's like you just got to try to find a way to find those people because they are out there and they're all around the world. So yeah, I'm inspired to. I would like to be a globally known artist. I've had a couple bloggers and Instagram accounts and things like that sharing my stuff. You know, Hip Hop Heads, one of the accounts that he told me he's from Germany. And I think the advertiser too just got on hiphopbootleggers.net, which I didn't even really know about, but that's probably a global website too. So somehow it's getting out there and it's just always finding ways to keep it going. But yeah, man, I'm inspired by the other art that's around me and then knowing that this could be a global thing if I just find the right people that will support me. So that's
Yeah,
what drives
no,
me.
No, I love that, man. What would an older version of yourself tell a younger version of yourself? A version of yourself.
Start
Yeah.
start earlier. I wish I
Okay.
started this earlier for sure. Just given I've been so passionate about it since then, I would have learned a lot more about just recording and the whole process and all that. So not saying I'm late by any means, but it makes me think if I started this thing, when I was in college, I really went hard with it. I had such an audience of people then, like I didn't really believe in it then. I hadn't opened for terminology yet or opened for Mickey Diamond yet. So I think it's that natural progression. But I definitely would have told myself to start earlier and take it more serious.
I like that. What do you hope your music does for people?
Um, I want to inspire other rappers to be proud of their pen. Um, I want to inspire lyricism. I want to evoke emotion in people. I want them to feel something. I want relatability. So those are all the things when I'm sitting down and I'm writing. Those are all things that are in my purview. It was like, can I either prove I'm one of the illest at this? Can I move someone? Can they relate to a story I tell? Those are all things that I'm very conscious of when I'm making music. So, um, and ultimately, people like yourself, people that I care about their opinions, telling me I'm dope and telling me that I'm advancing hip hop and I'm not, out here for the wrong reasons and being gimmicky. Because, when you're coming up as an artist and you're young, like when I started, the world is your oyster to try all these different sounds. You can try to ride a wave and try to do what's popular, but I think the fact that I've been so steadfast in sticking to what I love, I try to make music that I would like to listen to. So that's another thing that I'm very conscious of is like all those elements I just mentioned, but also like would I even want to listen to this? And if the answer is no, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons or you're making a song that's not really true to yourself. So those are things I always just try to do while I'm creating.
Yeah, no, that's dope. Um, 10 people you can invite to dinner, dead or alive. Who you inviting?
10?
Yep, 10. Anybody.
Oof. Anybody.
Anybody you want.
Man, man. All right, well, because I'm trying to think of all the interests I have.
Yeah.
Um,
No, take your
yeah,
time.
man.
This one gets
This is a
everybody.
this is a
Everybody gets
real
it.
good one. I might have to get a pen out and jot some of these.
Yeah,
I know.
I have so many ideas, you know what I mean? And I appreciate you saying that, man. I appreciate, man, your support, man, and just, having my back. And, um, my advice to you, man, would be, man, just keep doing what you're doing, man. People like me, man, appreciate your music. I appreciate your art. I appreciate your passion behind it. You're an MC, man, and you know what I mean. And that word MC shouldn't get thrown around a lot,
Hmm.
because there is a difference between an MC and a rapper, man. And I feel like you're an MC. And I hope when this episode comes out, people gravitate towards what you're doing, your sound, your music, because your music's incredible. And I, I'm thankful, forever thankful for you, man, for just believing in what I got going on, and I'm coming on my platform, man. So thank you very much for that, man. And just thank you for this interview and thank you for your time.
Thank you, man. This is great. I think I've done a lot of interviews, and I don't think no disrespect to all, like a lot of my friends too that I've done them with. They're great at what they do too, but you have that extra pulse on like the real underground stuff. So I'm glad I was able to we could kind of riff on that a little bit because
Yeah.
I nerd out on that stuff. But thank you, man. Thank you for the kind words. I'm
Uh,
definitely inspired by what you just said there. And yeah, man, a lot of work coming. So excited for you to kind of keep following the journey, and I'm gonna do the same.
yeah, make sure, man, y'all check out Jeff Porter's music. Go ahead and download and stream Appetizer 2. It's out on all platforms, man. Make sure y'all tap in, man, and get that going. It's an incredible EP, man. So thank you very much, man.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you. Thanks.
No problem.